I am the one and only. Oh, yeah. Call me by my name. Oh, call me by my number. You put me through it. I'll still be doing it the way I do it, and yet you try to make me forget who I really am. Yet you tell me I know best. I'm not the same as all the rest. I am the one and only. Nobody I'd rather be. I am the one and only. You can't take that away from me. I've been a player in the crowd scene, a flicker on the big screen. You put me through it. I'll still be doing it the way I do it, and yet you try to make me forget who I really am. You tell me you know best. I'm not the same as all the rest. I am the one and only. Nobody I'd rather be. I am the one and only. You can't take that away from me. Woo! Glorify. Hey, Tubies. It's Lord Ision on a Wiccan Wednesday, and I'm hanging out with Lamb Chop. You like that song, Lamb Chop? Oh my gosh, it's so good to be here with you. Well, I am so glad to see. Look, we got a lot of people here. Look, there's Baroness Kolobos. Yay, shout out. She's our moderator. Give her thumbs up. She did the thumbnail for today's show, the opening screen. That was her artwork. Give her thumbs up for that. Thank you, Baroness. There's Amy Radcliffe's here. Oh my gosh. There's Lady Jane, the Earl Grey Tea Tribe. There's Amsterdam Soul. Hello. Golly, there's Vivian P is here. Wow. Gosh, jeepers, so many people here. Well, welcome to our show tonight. I am Psychic Bob, also known by my Wiccan title of Lord Ision. Yes, Wednesday night. It's time to pull up a chair, get a good cup of tea. In England, we call it a cuppa. Have a good cuppa with us. Oh, you want some of that too? Yeah, okay, here you go. Here. All right. You like that, don't you? You're all excited. Well, what was that you were saying? Are we going to talk about herbs tonight? Well, I hadn't really prepared to talk on herbs. Did you have a question about a herb? Baroness Kolobob said, what? Okay, well, let me see if I can clarify that. Baroness Kolobob supposedly was talking about this herb that the ancient Celts use. Am I understanding that? What was the name of that herb? She couldn't really tell you. Well, no, she knows all about herbs too. She studies this. What was it called? She said, what? It was the blue dye, the blue pigment dye that the Celts used to paint tattoos and designs. Yeah, they did. The Celts used to use an herb. It was a blue, it would dye and make blue dye, and then would paint on their faces designs and do tattoos and do crescent moons, all of that. And what did she say the name of that was? She couldn't get it out. What was it? Whoa, 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 whoa. What? She said, what? Say it again. She said it was whoa, 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 whoa. I don't think that's right. Oh, look, there's Amsterdam. So she knows where it's called woad. That's her. Baroness Collins called it woo, woo, woo. All right, well, Baroness, did you get tongue-tied and couldn't say the word woad? Yeah, okay, well, it's woad. It's not woo, 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 woo. Ah! You don't know what's going on. I don't know if Baroness does either. All right, well, Lambshell, listen, I got to talk to her, but can you go over there and sit down? All right, jump down here. Here you go. All right, there you go. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Lamb Chop. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, guys, it is so good to be with you. Well, welcome to Wiccan Wednesday. I'm Psychic Bob, also known as Lord Ision. How are you guys out there tonight? Everybody doing okay? I can't see you. I put on my glasses here. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Amsterdam. So it's Woad. According to Lamb Chop, Baroness Colbus is called woo 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 woo. Woo woo. That's a long story. Anyways, one time I got to tell you the story behind this. So Baroness Colbus and I were doing a Wicca Q A one time, and I was testing her on her herbalism. And I said, "What is the blue dye that the Celts use?" And I know she knows this. And she's, for some reason, it's like she's having a brain stutter or her tongue tie. And she goes, "Oh, I know that one. It's that blue dye. It's called woo, 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 woo." Ah! And I was like, "It's what?" And she, no matter how much she tried, she couldn't get the word woo. And she got stuck at woo. Ah! You had to have been there. Anyways, it's so good to have you guys here. Welcome to our show tonight. Anyways, a lot of you been writing, by the way, and asking me about psychic development. Every Saturday, I teach a psychic development class. It's a private class for private training for those who are serious about psychic development. I have a class that's about 30 people. It's limited. It won't go above 30 because I like to give people individual time. And I can't do it if I have a big class. But you can register for that over at my website. It's PsychicBob.com. It's $30 for a class, but it's 2 hours live one-on-one training with me. You're not going to get any psychic at my level, and I am well known across the country and the globe, that's going to be able to teach you at that price. I've been doing psychic work over 30 years, so I bring a lot of knowledge to it. People have been coming to my class for the last few years, tell me how much it's helped them. And this Saturday, we're going to do a class on speed reading, how to get information from spirit quick and share it with those in need. So if you're interested in that, come and join us. You don't have to have previous experience. Just come out and be part of our scene. You can register. Again, it's only $30. I'll be teaching it on Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern USA time. That's 12 Eastern, 11 Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, 9 a.m. Pacific. And for those of you in Europe, it's 5 p.m. London time, 6 p.m. Paris time. Okay. So I'm so glad you guys are here. How do you like my witch hat tonight? What do you think? Am I styling? And oh, look what necklace I'm wearing. Hold on, let me take my hat off here. I'm wearing tonight my Wiccan drawing down the moon. I just love this pendant. This is a high priestess drawing down the moon. Isn't that beautiful? It's got a pentacle with the moon. Thank you, Robin. God bless you. Robin says, class has helped me a lot. Robin says, Bob is such a good teacher. Thank you, Robin. Blessings to you. Don't let Robin get all the goods. Why don't you guys come and join too? I know a lot of you have been wondering about your psychic development. So this week we're going to do speed reading. In my class, I teach spiritualist theory and I teach practical application. So like last week, we did a class on spirit photography, and it was mostly the history of spirit photography, which people really enjoyed. But this week, we're going to work on mediumship skills. And I do different things every week. The class is a standalone, so you can just come in, register for one Saturday, and then if you can't be there for a week or two, you can come again whenever you're free. I don't ask people to buy multiple classes. It's one class at a time as you're available. So I would invite you to consider that, okay? Go to PsychicBob.com, and up at the top, you'll see a thing that says services. Just click on that tab, and you'll scroll down through. You'll see the psychic development class. $30 you can pay at the website. Takes all debit and credit cards. It's secure and insured. So would love to have you guys be part of that if you haven't done so. For those of you who have been with us, I want to say thank you. Baroness has been part of our class. Robin's been part of our class. Lady Jane of the Earl Grey Tea Tribe's been part of our class. we have a great group, and I would invite you to really explore that for your own development. So come and join us. All right. Well, thank you for listening to those announcements. Today, I also want to talk about, I've been getting a lot of people asking me, Psychic Bob, I want to do Wicca, but I can't find a coven. I'm not able to join a group right now. Can I do Wicca alone? Is that good? Because I read that you can't be a witch unless you're initiated into a coven. First of all, that is not true. You can be a witch just as you are wherever you are. All right. We call this practice solitary Wicca. Now, it's true that I do run a coven these days, but for many years I was solitary. I've been in covens and I've been solitary. And my current group that I run is called Order of the Silver Star. It is not an open coven, it is closed. Once a year, we'll do a membership open house, but right now we're keeping the coven closed. But the Order of the Silver Star is the group I belong to, but I still practice every day on my own. The Silver Star meets like once a month for our group rituals, but you can still do Wicca every day on your own without being in a coven. And Baroness Kolobuff says, I was a solitary witch. That's right, you can be, And I thought I'd read a little bit about solitary Wicca for you guys. This is from this book. This is by Tony and Eileen Grist. Wonderful book called The Illustrated Guide to Wicca. I just love this. It has a lot of beautiful graphics and really practical advice for doing Wiccan things. And here's the chapter, so if I can get there, called A Witch Alone. All right. See, there's a guy sitting there. I don't know if you guys can see this. Having some camera flare. All right. So we're going to read a little bit about this. Okay. So just pull up your chairs. Y'all got a cup of tea? It's great to gather and have tea together, isn't it, each week? So good. All right. So let me just read a little bit for you guys from this book. A Witch Alone. And this is in the Gardnerian Book of Shadows. It says, you may not be a witch alone. This is nonsense. The old hedge witches and cunning men were almost always lone practitioners. You do not need other people around you to honor the god and goddess or to practice healing and spellcraft. Many people feel drawn to Wicca but do not want to be part of a group or are unable to find one in their area. Solitary priesthood. Here's the next section, solitary priesthood. It says, the solitary Wiccan has been chosen by the gods and goddesses and is answerable to them alone. Those who work in groups have to compromise. Those who work on their own do not. Okay, so think about that. As a Wiccan working alone, you are on the path of the hermit in the tarot deck. He walks through the darkness. In his lantern burns the star of hope and desire, casting light into lonely places. Here's a picture of the tarot card. Some of you know this card. There's the hermit card. Do you see that? Some of you know that. All right, that's the solitary Wiccan symbol. All right. In ritual, you will call the gods and goddesses down into your circle rather than invoke them into a person. This is known as evocation because they are not having to function through a human intermediary. You will experience their energy in a pure, more elemental form. A very intense rapport builds up between the solo practitioners and their gods and goddesses. You and they are alone together. All right, how you like that? All right. So yes, you can practice alone. All right. Scott Cunningham also wrote a wonderful book. This is the other book. Both of these I recommend. This is called Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner by Scott Cunningham. This was the very first Wiccan book I ever bought, and I still read. I've probably got 10 copies of it, literally, because I use it still all the time and get inspiration from it, you know. Baroness Colabub says, "Hi, Bob. I got my tea, Bob, babes. Yay." Amy Radcliffe says, "I got a cup of Dr. Pepper." Well, that'll work too, I suppose. Amsterdam says, "Indy and I had tea every day. It was a ritual." Isn't that beautiful? I love that. Baroness says, "I drink about 40 cups a week." Yeah, me too, probably. So Scott Cunningham, oh, thank you. It's from Beyond says, "Oh, I'm really liking Wiccan Wednesdays." Thank you so much. It's from Beyond says, "I love Scott Cunningham." And he says, it's from Beyond says, "He has a very good herbal book too." Yeah, we'll talk about his herbal book. I got to get a new copy. That my other one got ruined. There was a leak of water in my closet and it got destroyed. All right. Baroness says, "I got my Bob into drinking too much tea." That is probably true. I don't think you drink too much tea, though. I just love it. I'm drinking today Prince of Wales tea because I just bought a new box of Earl Grey. I was out. So I've been drinking Prince of Wales, and I haven't opened my new box yet. So Prince of Wales tea it is from Twinings. I'm not being endorsed by Twinings, but that blend is wonderful. All right. Scott Cunningham talks about Wicca here as well and kind of the beauty of the religion. And he says, this is to give you a little insight on Wicca. He says, that perhaps is at the core of Wicca. It is a joyous union with nature. The earth is a manifestation of divine energy. Wicca's temples are flower-splashed meadows, forests, beaches, and deserts. When a Wicca is outdoors, she or he is actually surrounded by sanctity, much as a Christian is when entering a church or cathedral. Isn't that true? Additionally, all of nature is constantly singing to us, revealing her secrets. Wiccans listen to the earth. They don't shout out the lessons that she is so desperately trying, they don't shut out the lessons that she is so desperately trying to teach us. When we lose touch with our blessed planet, we lose touch with deity. Now, see, for Wiccans, that's true because we believe that divinity is immanent. You don't have to hope to get to God. God's right here with us. These are some of the basic principles of Wicca. They are the true Wicca. The rituals and myths are secondary to those ideals and serve to celebrate them. Just jump down here and he says, don't shut out the physical world in favor of the spiritual or magical realms, for only through nature can we experience these realities. We are here on earth for a reason. Do, however, use ritual to expand your awareness so that you are truly at one with all creation. The way is open. The ancient goddess and god await within and around you. May they bless you with wisdom and power. And that's the intro. That's just the intro to this book. Okay? This book is one of my favorite. People say, oh, that's a beginner book. I moved beyond. Listen, this book is profound. It's for all levels. Even if you've been doing Wicca 20 years and never read it, I really recommend it, you know. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. Amy Radcliffe says, I have a book, Solitary Wiccan. Wonderful. So I bring this up because I think a lot of people are wondering, well, gee, Bob, I heard you run a Wiccan order. I can't be part of it now. I guess I can't do Wicca, or my local coven. I don't really click with them. I went to a ritual and I think they're weird, but I still love Wicca. I just don't agree. Don't get caught up in that mythology. It was said in the 1950s and 60s that you had to be part of a coven. Gerald Gardner created that, but that doesn't make it true. And a lot of covens said that. Nowadays, there's kind of also a mixture. You can be a solitary Wiccan and still yet gather occasionally for rituals with a local group. I know a lot of people have what they call open circles, where they gather once a month or once a quarter, and they just let anybody come that wants to come. That's another option. So don't feel that you're not a real Wiccan or can't practice just because you're on your own. Okay. I think it's so important to know that, because, when I was first exploring Wicca, I actually started reading about Wicca back in the 1980s. But at that time, there weren't many books out. And the only books I read were by Gerald Gardner. And they said you have to be initiated into a coven. There was no covens where I was. So I let Wicca sit on the shelf for like 10 years. And I think, wow, I could have been enjoying this all my life. And it wasn't until the 1990s that I discovered this book. This book actually came out in 1988, but I didn't find it till like 10 years later in like 1998. But when I found this book, it changed my whole world, And that's why I want you guys to explore. There's a saying, and I think it's really true. It says to pick up a book could be a very dangerous thing. In fact, you take your life into your hands when you pick up a book and start to read. For you never know how a book could change your entire life. And in this case, this is one of those books that's absolutely true. It changed my entire life. And as many of you know, I was a spiritualist for a long time, and I still am a spiritualist. But due to politics in the church and just wanting a little more than I was getting at that point in my life, I discovered Wicca. I'd started doing readings for people. I had my own shop at the time. And people used to come into my store and say, "You are such a cool witch, Psychic Bob." And I was like, "Witch? I'm a spiritual. I'm not a witch." I didn't even know really like what, I thought they were being insulting or something. And they said, "No, you're really cool." And I said, "Well," so I went to a bookstore and I said, "Do you have any books on Wicca or witchcraft?" I said, "I remember years ago a little bit about it, but," I said, "can't find my books." And this girl at the counter, I'll never forget her, young girl with pink hair and green hair. And she said, "Oh, you like Wicca? Oh my God, we got a whole section on that." I was like, "What?" I didn't even know it was such a thing. And she took me back, and she's the one, she pulls out, she said, "This is a great book. You should really read this. I think you'll like this book." So I sit there and started flipping through it. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And I took this book home and I like read it in like 2 days. I just couldn't put it down. I was so obsessed with it. And I said, oh my God, maybe this is a path for me. And that's how it started for me. Now, thank God for Scott Cunningham, because if I had only found a Gardnerian book that said, you must be in a coven initiated on this day in this way, I might have walked away from Wicca and my life would have been much less than it has become. So that's why I want to encourage all of you to, if you haven't, read this book. It will give you a perspective that may help you if you're interested in Wicca, So, but I'm just curious if any of you, had a similar experience. Maybe you'd wanted to join Wicca years ago, but somebody put you off of it and said, "Oh, you can't be a Wiccan because you're not a Gardnerian." I'm just curious kind of what your journeys have been. Or maybe you're just discovering this today, Yeah. Star Lightworker says, Cunningham's books are good. I like Dreaming the Divine. Do you know, Star? I have not read that book, Dreaming the Divine. I need to get that. That's one of the books I haven't read. I will definitely check that out, Look, oh, there's Denise Diaz here, and there's Amsterdam still. It's so good to have you guys. There's the therapist. Hello, therapist. There's Angela Prayer Poems. Thank you. Welcome. So, I invite you guys to share with me a little bit about your journey. Are you, interested in Wicca? Are you new to it? Maybe you're studying it now. Starlight Worker says, Dreaming the Divine is about sacred sleep. Very interesting. I definitely need to read that. Thank you. Is that by Scott Cunningham or is that Starhawk? I'm getting confused. For some reason, I think that's a Starhawk book. But anyways, maybe it is Scott. I'll look that up. Denise D says she was born and raised Catholic. All right. You know, Catholics make the best Wiccans. They understand all that ritual stuff. Amsterdam was Catholic too. Therapist said, I was taught that it was evil. Yeah, I think a lot of us therapists get that lesson, you know, because our traditional churches hate Wicca. But the Wiccans don't view the church as their enemy. You know, it's sad, but, you know, we're really about attuning to the earth and drawing power into our lives to heal ourselves, to heal the earth, to heal others. Amy Radcliffe says, the Wiccan books I've read, the spells make it to where you have to have these all odd ingredients that turn me off. Yeah, you know, some of them are like that, but you know, one of the things you learn as you practice magic is you can substitute stuff and you can write your own spells. They don't have to be complex, you know. Therapist says, I'm interested for sure, and I wanted to read and learn more. Well, listen, if you're just tuning in here, guys, get this book. I don't care how many years you've done it. Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner. It'll help your life so much. You know, Angela Purpo says, I'm a witch. I believe all the gods and beings exist. I'd never harm anyone. Healing magic is my favorite. I'm in a spiritual closet with my living situation and was raised Catholic. Okay. Well, I understand. For many years, I was in the broom closet. That's the Wiccan term. They call it being in the broom closet. I worked at a company. I had a job where they were openly anti-Wiccan. And we had a boss one time, and they had to go to a client's office for a meeting. And one of the staff at the firm we were working with was a Wiccan, openly Wiccan, with a calendar, with the Wiccan calendar, their office, and pentagram on the wall. And my boss came back and he says, oh my God, I was down at the client's office this week. He said, do you know they have a Wiccan on staff? He goes, that is too weird. He said, thank God there's nobody in this office that's Wiccan. And I'm sitting there, I'm actually a Wiccan. Now, I could have been a bitch about it and said, you know, oh, excuse me, I could have said, well, I think that's religious discrimination. I kept my mouth shut because the Wiccans have a tradition of silence. But it was sad. And I said, well, what if we did have a Wiccan here? He said, well, that person wouldn't be here for long. We'd make sure to get rid of them. And I thought, wow, you know, it was a different time, I guess. So I understand, you know, I had to be underground in those days. I literally would have lost my job. And I couldn't afford to go out on my own and change jobs at that time. I just come out of great poverty when I got that job. So I had to keep it on the down low and act like I didn't know anything. But, you know. So, yeah, Angela, I understand that. You know, I like to tell people, don't come out until you're ready to come out of the broom closet. Because people's lives are affected. I have seen people lose their children, lose their houses, simply for being Wiccan. And, you know, it doesn't make sense in a country that supposedly espouses religious freedom that we still persecute religions here. I suppose you have religious freedom as long as you're a good Christian. But if you're a Jewish person or a Buddhist or a Muslim or a Hindu or God forbid, a Wiccan, you really don't count for much in this country. That is the sad truth, you know. You know, like since I've become a public person, I've been open about my Wicca. And I'm in a position in life where it doesn't matter to me because I own my own business. I don't answer to anybody but myself. And I'm in a position where I don't have to worry about it. And I kind of feel like for those of you who might be in the broom closet, don't put yourself in predicaments. There are people like myself who can stand for Wicca. We take the brunt. I definitely get hate mail sometimes. And I get hostility in public from people. Not as much as I used to, but once in a while. And I just don't back down. you know. I get it sometimes when I'm wearing like this necklace. I think last week I told somebody the story that I was wearing this pendant recently. Well, this was probably about a year or so ago in a store. And a lady came up to me and says, that needs to be kept at home. And I was like, what are you talking about? She points to me and she said, that obscene necklace, walking around naked women. She said, that's not appropriate. And I don't think it's very polite of you to walk around with such obscene stuff. I say, excuse me? I said, this, first of all, if you look closely, the lady's not naked. She's wearing a small, like, skirt and dress, like, top. And I said, I said, this is a high priestess and she's clothed. She said, high priestess. Is that one of those satanic things? I said, no, it's Wicca. She said, oh, it's all the same. I said, no, it's really not. But she went off on me, didn't even know me in the middle of the store and started saying, well, I think that necklace you should be put out of the store for obscenity, and and I'm going to let the manager know to keep an eye on you. I mean, just craziness. And I get this still. Sometimes I'll wear a pinnacle in public. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm in a place in my life, and I'm really lucky like this, that I can just do whatever I want. And I can't be fired. I can't lose my job, and I'm not going to back down. So for those of you like Angela, prayer poems, who are kind of stuck in a position where you really can't be yourself, don't worry, you can stay underground. Wicca is not a religion that makes you be a martyr. Wicca is not about, well, we'll go out and just convert the whole. We don't believe in converting people even. We believe that those who are called to the craft will find their way. We don't proselytize. We don't care what your religion is as long as you're a good person. Love God. Sylvia Brown said it. And I love Sylvia. She wasn't a Wiccan, but I believe in her philosophy as well. She was a spiritualist. And she said, listen, she said, life is real simple. Love God, love your neighbor, do some good while you're here in the world. And at the end of your life, just shut up and go home. I think that's the best philosophy. All right. You got that? Just remember, keep it simple. Love God, love your neighbor, do some good in the world. And at the end of it all, just shut up and go home. That's the way it needs to be. That's what I believe. Oops, hold on a sec. I missed some questions here. All right. Amsterdam says, I have little experience, Bob. Like you, I'm a spiritualist. Well, people say you can't be two religions, but I am. I am fully a spiritualist. I'm actually a licensed card-carrying spiritualist. I'm a member of the Spiritualist National Union in the United Kingdom. I'm a card-carrying member, and I'm a card-carrying Wiccan. To me, both religions, at least for me and my journey, work together. They may not for you, but it does for me, Denise D says, I'm not Catholic anymore. Yeah, me neither. I left the Catholic Church, and I loved the Catholic Church for many years. I was Catholic. Angela Purpur says, but I'm a happy witch. The craft saved my life, and I had thoughts of trying to leave this world. Early magic helped me stop from doing that. See, Angela, isn't that beautiful? The craft helped you. See, that's the beauty. This is a beautiful faith. And for all the people out there that attack us and call us devil worshipers, they don't know. In this book, Scott, I don't know where it is, so I can't look it up. I'll look it up later. But in this book, Scott Cunningham says, when people ask you, they come to him saying, show me the mysteries. I need to know the mysteries. And he said, I can't teach you the mysteries. I can only show you the way that will lead you to the mysteries. And he said, the mysteries are found in experience in the craft. We don't have a book that reveals the mysteries. He said, you find it in the rising of the moon, in the setting of the sun, in watching ice melt and rivers flow. You find it in the wind. You find it in the sky and in the animals that inhabit the earth, observing all of nature. He said, this is where the mysteries are found. And so, Angela, when you talk about how Wicca changed you, I felt the same way. It gave me such hope in times of despair. And I still, to this day, live by its tenets and faith. And I love it, Amy Radcliffe says, but I didn't have you as a teacher to teach me about Wicca. Well, now you do, Amy. So you can learn. And I would say pick up this book, start to explore it again. Either of these will get you started. This one is, I don't know if it's still in print, but you can look and buy it on eBay or Amazon. The Illustrated Guide to Wicca. Love this book. It gives you a real visual of what the tools look like and the cords and sensors, different ritual items. And it gives you a concept of like what your robes might look like, how to do rituals. Very colorful book, very practical, like how to set altars, how to work with the directions. All of that is in here. Oh, look, Cole, I didn't see this is in the book. Look at that. Do you recognize that, Cola? Look at the picture there. That's Glastonbury. Rumor says that we might end up going there one day. Right, Cola? Maybe. We'll see. Here's a chapter on the Wiccan priesthood. See? So, there are resources that you can still use on your own, Mr. Damsel says, I have friends and nieces who are Wicca. That's cool. You'll find most Wiccans are pretty cool people. The therapist says, oh, awesome. I'm sure going to. I said my ancestors was a white bitch. Been interested ever since. Well, there you go. Find the path, Wicca is open to, by the way, I want to clarify something. Wicca is open to all people of all races and all ages. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. There was a few years ago a terrible, a racist rumor going around. They're saying that Wicca is only for white people, that you can't be Wiccan if you're African American or Native American or Asian. That is not true. Wicca has been found all over the world. Every race and culture has magic in it and similar practices. So don't buy into the concept that you have to be a white Anglo-Saxon to do Wicca. It's just simply not true. It does originate from the Celtic Isles, and it is a British religion, but you don't have to be British or Anglo to practice it. It's for all people. Because the gods, think of it this way, if anybody ever challenges you with that, say, are the gods one race? No, we know that the divine is beyond all races, that all races are created from the divine. So in the face of every race reflects divinity to us, all right? So next time you're tempted to hate somebody because you're like, well, I don't like those whatever race, you're denigrating the very presence of the divine. God, goddess is in all of us. So when you look at your, Native American friends, the face of the goddess shines out from them. When you're looking at your Black friends, the face of the god and goddess shine out from them. When you're looking at your Asian friends, the face and the faces of the gods and goddesses shine out of them. So don't ever get caught up in that racial thing, okay? It's so true. Starlight Worker says, I'm Buddhist, but I love learning about all things. I love spirit and all things spiritual, and I am close to nature, so Wicca seems very natural. Yeah, it's a very natural, literally a natural religion. Starlight Worker says, I've learned so much from Wiccan and pagan friends, and I respect their views. Thank you. I'm glad you're open to it because a lot of people just don't want to even hear, Vivian P says, I've been in the same situation. Do you mean the situation of people, you can't tell people that you're interested in these things? A lot of people are in that position. Thank you, Scott. Scott from South Carolina is here, and he says, please press the thumbs up button. A good habit is to do this when you first log on. Thank you, Scott. I want to echo Scott. First of all, I'll say thank you to Scott for that and echo his sentiments because YouTube is really being very critical of channels right now. They're censoring a lot of people. They're demonetizing. They're pushing people off the platform. And when you give thumbs up to every video that I do, first of all, it doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to pay any money. It doesn't hurt. And it's so simple of a gesture. But for YouTube, they look at the stats and they go, oh, he's getting a lot of thumbs up. We better leave him alone. I've had a number of legal run-ins with YouTube over the years. They've tried to shut me down. The government tried to shut me down. A lot of people tried to shut me down. PETA tried to shut me down. Oh my God, everybody's tried to shut me down. The only reason I'm here is because people like y'all who support me give thumbs up all the time. So they feel like they can't go against the public. So thank you for your support. Scott from South Carolina says, movies don't paint the craft in a good light. Children's sacrifices and such like hocus pocus. Yeah, don't look to Hollywood to understand Wicca. I haven't found a Hollywood movie yet that truly portrays Wicca. There are elements, like I do have to admit, one of my favorite movies is The Craft from 1996 with Nev Campbell and Fairuza Balk. Maybe you've seen that. But that's not really the true Wicca, but it's more of a fun movie. I do love Harry Potter, but again, it's not the true craft. The true craft is very deep and hidden and mystical. It's hard to even put into words, you know? Therapist says, oh, Bob, I would have had a lot of fun with that. Are you talking about people attacking me in the store? I just put them in their place nowadays. I don't tolerate them anymore. Starlight Wear says, wow, this woman who said that to you, Bob, people are so close-minded. They make up their minds. It ends up hurting them mostly in the end. That's true. You know, if this lady had just come up to me and said, I don't know what that necklace is, just out of curiosity, I would have had a really nice discussion with her about it. And she might have learned something. But instead, she just was full-on fundamentalist mode, you know. Amsterdam says, I went to a Wiccan wedding recently. Oh, that sounds fun. We may have to do a whole video about Wiccan weddings. That's a whole subject in itself, but I hope you enjoyed it. It sounds like it would have been beautiful, I bet. Baroness says, be who you are. Be who you want to be. Dress the way you want to dress. If they don't like it, give them the middle finger. I was tempted, believe me. I didn't do that. I always try to educate people a little bit, even if I have to put them in their place, you know. Amsterdam says, I had a friend who is Wiccan and performed the ceremony. Awesome. I love that. Amsterdam says, Robin, have you performed wedding ceremonies? That's interesting. I don't know. Are you an ordained minister? I've actually done weddings. I haven't done a Wiccan wedding yet, but I've done other weddings. Baroness Kolbob says, my ancestors are buried in Glastonbury. That's awesome. It's from Beyond says, you know, Psychic Bob, I too had that experience because you had to join a coven. I wanted to, but I was like, I want to get into it little by little. I like shamanism, yet I pick what resonates with me. Yeah, you know, I think a lot of people who would have been Wiccans years ago got kind of put off because they read the wrong books. And I think it made them discouraged that, well, I can't do that. I mean, I did. I just said, well, I can't find a coven. Therefore, Gerald Gardner says I can't be a Wiccan. And for 10, this is back in the 80s, 10 years went by. till I rediscover Wicca. And I'm so glad that I found this book. It literally changed my life, you know. Therapist is so glad you cleared that up because I heard those crazy things. Yeah, don't believe all that bullshit. Excuse me, BS. Sorry, sometimes I slip. Forgive my language. It's just when I get really frustrated about stuff, I cuss sometimes. Forgive me, I don't normally. Angela Prayer Poem says, racism is so stupid. We are all people. We just need to hug it out and have our favorite meals and listen to each other. More we share the same earth, sky, and stars, and we have more in common than we believe. You know what? You said it perfectly, and I think it's really, really true. This is why I think it's so sad, the state of the world. I won't get into politics because of YouTube censorship, but, you know, we don't need to be having any more wars. I think that the people of the countries of the world we don't hate each other. You know, we don't hate each other, but our leaders make us want to hate each other, and that's false and that's wrong. You know, thank you, Amy. Amy says, I just hit the thumbs up already. Thank you, Amy. You know, talking about the movie The Craft, says Amy says, I love the Craft movie too. I do. Starlight Works says, that movie is so fun, but not really Wicca. Nah. Baroness Colma says, Harry Potter is my favorite. I love it. There's Bobby Carroll. Hey, Bobby, good to see you, man. How are you? It's been a long time. I'm glad you're with us. Yay. Amy Radcliffe says, I would love to have powers like Bewitched. Wouldn't that be cool to have those kind of powers? It would be. But I'll tell you, you know, speaking of Wiccan magic, it doesn't work like on TV. But I'm not going to lie, I have seen some pretty shocking stuff come from spell work. I'm not going to go into all that here because that's more private, but spellcraft has literally saved my life at times too. So I'm a believer in magic, you know. Lady Jane, the Earl Grey Tea Tribe says only an ordained minister can perform a ceremony. That's true for a legal wedding. I am luckily a state ordained, legally licensed minister. I do hold a reverendship and it's recognized by the state. And I do legally can do weddings and funerals and all that stuff and hospital chaplaincies and all that. Amsterdam still says, isn't Glastonbury a highly active place? Yes, very powerful spirituals, ley lines that run through there. It's ancient site of pagan worship and Christian worship. Mm-hmm. Bobby Carroll says, I have missed you, Bob. Your lives are awesome. Thank you for being here, Bob. It's good to have you here. Tonight we're talking about Wiccan things. I've been doing some discussion on all things Wiccan and solitary Wicca, you know. It's from Beyond writes, well, Psychic Bob, I'm still battling this. I grew up Christian, yet I love the Hindu ways. I love my yoga, etc. I miss my tarot, etc. It's from Beyond. Let me just put this out there for you to contemplate. Um, I think, like I said earlier, don't make it harder than it has to be. Love God, however you define God. You know, there's a wonderful poem, which I need to print a copy. I'll read for you guys, called the Desiderata. In fact, I'm going to look that up and read that to you. Desiderata says, be therefore at peace with God, whatever you perceive God to be. So I would say to you, it's beyond that. I would invite you to consider that the divine is bigger maybe than what you were taught. I'm not discrediting the Christian truths, but I would say my personal experience from my own near-death experience and from my work in Wicca and spiritualism takes me to a God that is so much more than what the church has told me. And that's not to insult your religion, but I just have to be honest. That's my experience. Hinduism has such profound mystery of God. And there's an element in Hinduism that's very similar to Wicca. They believe that God can be personal or impersonal and has both aspects. The effulgence of the supreme can be a form of God that you connect with. In Wicca, we talk about our gods, our Lord and our Lady. And many people personalize that to my goddess Diana, my god Pan, or whatever gods they want, my god Thor, my goddess Freya. But then beyond the gods, there is the Godhead, the immanent, called Driton. Driton means the unknowable divine manifest. So divinity is in Wicca actually very similar to the Hindu concepts. I'm going to find that. I want to read the Desiderata. It's not a Wiccan thing, but it's something that is so spiritual. I think that it will really help you in your journeys today. So let me get a copy of this to read to you. All right, hold on just a second. All right, here's a copy. All right. Am I still broadcasting? Hold on. Can you guys see me okay? Am I still, hello guys, am I still broadcasting? Yes? Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to read this to you. And I want you guys to listen to it. Angela Prampram says, what is the one thing you're glad you learned on your magical journey or that magic has taught you? I think one of the things that I've learned is that magic really is real and that it's taught me the interconnectedness of all life. When you cast a spell out into the cosmos, it affects many people besides just yourself. And so you have to think carefully about what you do. So it's made me more reverent towards the practice and towards life. So there's my thoughts on that. All right, I'm going to read this. This is a poem. I'm going to tell you the story about this. This poem, the Desiderata, I've learned it first back in 1982. And I'll tell you the story. Some of you know this story. You've been with me a long time. But I had a wonderful teacher in high school who became a personal friend named Rusty Claus. She was my drama teacher. And I had her in my drama class. And my freshman year of high school, one day I was in a play and I had to go to play practice after class. And I went into the theater. I was in a bad mood. I'd failed my algebra test. And I was like stressing out. And Rusty said, you don't seem yourself today. I said, no, I had a really bad day. You know, I was a teenager, 15 years old, 14, 15, just full of myself, all over the place, mentally, no grounding. And she said, come with me. I said, what? Come with me. I said, Rusty, I got to get my homework done. I'm going to practice my lines. No, she said, come with me. So she took me back to her office. And she had an office, and on the wall, there was this big poster. And she said, your homework for today is don't study your lines. I want you to study this. And I said, why? She said, you need this in your life. I said, all right, whatever. And this is the poem that she had me study. And it changed my life that day. This is another one of those life-changing moments in my own journey. And I want to share this with you. Lady Jane said, you work with Rusty Claus. She was spelled Clauss. She was an American actress and teacher. So here is the Desiderata. All right. And it says Desiderata. Now, this was published by Max Ehrmann in 1927. All right, you guys listening? All right, here it is. Desiderata. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and to the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for there will always be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Hold on a second. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. For many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars, and you have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. That poem moves me so much. It changed my world. It still changes me to this very day. Study it, learn it, absorb it. It is wisdom. And if you want to be a Wicca, you have to be open to wisdom. I think that poem is very wise and very powerful. And it just moves me into such a deep place. In all the darkest moments of my life, I read it. And I become renewed in my spirit. Angela Prayer Poem says, wow, I needed that today. Thank you. I am so honored to be able to share that with you guys. It will change your world, change my world. Years ago, in 1982, I learned that. As a young 14-year-old crazy guy, it changed my world. This poem is called Desiderata, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Hold on, let me put it in here. You can look it up. Desiderata. I think that's it. Hold on. Desiderata. Desiderata. If you look that up and study it, it will change your life. Isn't that beautiful? Star says that was a beautiful poem. Laura M says it's a beautiful poem. Robin says that is beautiful, Bob. Angela Purpose says I'm going to look it up and bookmark it. Maybe add to my Book of Shadows. Yeah, you could put that. In fact, you know what? I need to put a copy of that in my Book of Shadows. I never did that. I have a copy in my room, but I'm going to stick it in my Shadows book. Anyways, that poem changed my life many years ago. And to me, it is as sacred as the biblical texts are to many people. So, whoever it was earlier, I forget your name. let me see if I can find you, who was saying that you struggle with finding peace with your spiritual life. Like that poem says, it's from beyond. I think it was you. It's from beyond. It says, be therefore at peace with God, whatever you perceive him to be. We get so caught in our pigeonholes of orthodoxy, and I even see it in Wicca. But isn't the divine so much more? I challenge you to really reflect on that today. Michelle Marzana says, thank you so much, Bob. Bears, I will write to you on Instagram regarding headdress, etc. Okay. I'm so glad you like that, Michelle. Thank you so much for being here. So anyways, if you tuned in late, didn't get to hear that, go read it. And take your time. You need to sit down and study. This is not a fast read. You know, nowadays we want everything instant. Desiree takes some time to really study it. So take the time. You will be better for it. Angela Prayer Poem says, my biggest profound magical experience was spirits, or someone I feel it was my matron goddesses screaming, no in my ear when I was very stuck in some thoughts of leaving this world. See, the divine came to help you. Michelle Marzan says, thank you, Bob, you rock. I'm so glad. This light changed my life. Angela says, couldn't get out the no, stop in my ear, pushed me out of those thoughts. Yeah, I understand that. The divine is waiting to help us. You know, don't the spirit guides always say they want to help us? Every week they come through and tell me that, you know. Anyways, listen, guys, we're at our hour and I have to go to more readings tonight. I'm working late tonight. But I want to say thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to have to wrap it up. But I hope this has given you some things to think about. If you tuned in late, you might want to go back and watch the first part of the video. We have a lot to talk about in this today. And I think it will help you very much on your journey. But I want to say thank you to Baroness Kolbas for being here to help in the chat and moderate. Thank her for a wonderful artwork. She did the opening screen for this video. And thank you, Angela. Says, good luck on your readings. Thank you. I'm working till midnight tonight. That's just how it is. But I love you guys, and I want to say thank you for being here. If you've called me or waiting to hear from me for a reading, I am still playing catch up. I will get to you all. Don't worry, PsychicBob's not forgotten you, okay? It's just backlog. Thank you for your patience. You know, but you guys rock, and I hope this has given you some ideas. Tomorrow night is Thursday, and I think we've got seance tomorrow, Saturday or Thursday night seance. So join us at 7 p.m. Eastern for our seance, okay? So thank you very, very much. You guys rock. I love you. Now do your homework, because you know Psychic Bob gives you homework. You got to go read the Desiderata. Just type it in. It'll come. There are copies all over the internet. I don't know if I can put this. Let me just see if I can put the link in chat. I don't know if it'll allow me, but I'm going to try to put the link in chat. Let's just see if it'll go in. Of one link copy. It may not go in, but if you can't find it, if this link doesn't work, I think it went in. Do you guys see that? Look at the screen. There's a Desiderata. Oh, wow. The link. I didn't think you could put links in chat. All right. So there you go, guys. There's a link in the chat for Desiderata. All right. Get that. Go get that before we close out. I'll wait a few moments. Amy Radcliffe found an audio version. Wonderful. It's there. Good. The link took. Yes. Thank you. All right. So that's your homework. Okay. Psychic Bob wants you to study the Desiderata and explore Scott Cunningham's book, Solitary Wicca, if you can. All right, so there's your Wiccan homework. All right, guys, listen, I love you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to get out an astrology forecast over on Instagram and TikTok. I've just been real busy the last few days, and I've missed today. But I'll have something tomorrow for you guys. So we'll see you. Watch me over on TikTok and Instagram tomorrow for astrology forecast. And then be here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 5 Mountain, 4 Pacific for the seance. And for those of you in Europe, it's midnight London time, 1 a.m. Paris time. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for being here. Love you all. Blessed be.